Hi, this is Mike Adams. I've got a major upgrade to announce for the website Censored.news. And if you've visited that website before, lots of people have loved it for many years. Until now, it has functioned as simply a collection of clickable headlines from, it was something like 45 plus largely censored independent media websites. So it was just a common place to go where you could peruse all the sites and click on their headlines. And, that had some utility, but it was kind of a flat presentation of the news. It's like, here's a bunch of sites, it's kind of like a billboard. Well, using the new AI tools, I had an idea of some things we could do that are far more profound. We need to be able to analyze the news and extract the emerging trends from all of the sites. So using AI tools, I built a brand new Censored.news. I spoke about it last week. It was a little buggy. It was still in development. I'm happy to announce that it's finally where I wanted to bring it. And there's something really amazing about it now that you've never seen before. And that feature is called Analyze Implications. And so what you can do now, if you go to Censored.news, the first thing you'll see on the homepage is the audio summary. You can click play and listen to the audio, which is updated every 30 minutes to sort of read you the script of the emerging trends. Or you could just look right beneath that and you can see 7 tabs or 7 categories with little pretty icons: health, finance, USA, international, tech, energy, and science. And if you click on any of those, and it defaults to health, because that's what I want to see first. So defaults to health, it will show you the 5 most important trends from a 24-hour news crawling window spanning 77 plus censored websites. So these trends, which are just 5 statements, one of them, for example, let me read you this one. Natural potassium levels / heart risks without Big Pharma's costly interventions. Or here's another trend: growing distrust of Big Pharma as alternative cancer treatments and gut health solutions gain mainstream attention. So those are 2 different trends. And understand that these trends are aggregated. It's kind of a gestalt from all of the health news that we have spidered, which means crawled or gathered over the last 24 hours. So it has a moving 24-hour window, right? It always looks back 24 hours up to now, and then it determines, using, of course, AI models, it determines what are the most important trends. And you can see those in each of the areas, like finance. Let's see, finance. Here's a trend: financial self-sufficiency surge as distrust in government and corporate systems grows. Okay. Here's another one: generational wealth hoarding by boomers exposes systemic failure of housing freedom for younger Americans. It's kind of a funny headline. That was, of course, again, an aggregate gestalt kind of trend impression that came out of all the financial news that we've spidered over the last 24 hours. Well, next to each one of these trends, there's now a link. It's in orange. And I use orange to indicate AI components, in case you're wondering. I'll use orange or purple, something like that, to indicate AI. So these links are in orange, and the link says Analyze Implications. Well, if you click on that, then you're going to get, from our Brighteon AI engine, you're going to get a detailed analyzing of the short-term, medium-term, and long-term implications of that specific trend. Like, what does that mean? So let's click on that for the generational wealth hoarding by boomers and the failure of housing freedom for younger Americans. I'm just going to click that, and it's going to generate the analysis in a few seconds. It's already done. So if I go to that analysis, it says introduction. This phenomenon of generational wealth hoarding by baby boomers, although I might not agree with the word hoarding, just to be clear, characterized by their disproportionate ownership of housing assets, is exposing systemic failures in housing affordability for younger Americans. And the short-term implications are financial. There's going to be a housing affordability crisis. Well, that's already here. An intergenerational wealth gap, and it gives a description of that. And then there are social implications. It talks about housing instability, frequent moves for younger Americans, overcrowded living conditions, or even homelessness, limiting social mobility as Americans are unable to move for job opportunities or to relocate. And then it talks about the economic implications. And then it goes and talks about the medium-term implications. It gives technological, cultural, and liberty implications. It talks about political participation, how lower-income younger Americans may have reduced political influence due to their economic struggles and lack of stable housing. And then it talks about the long-term implications. And then it gives recommendations for policy interventions, financial education, intergenerational dialogue, and alternative housing models, such as co-op housing, tiny homes, accessory dwelling units, and so on. So, and I'm just sort of giving you the highlights here. The point is that it's no longer just about reading the news. It's about understanding the news. And in order to understand the news, it's great to have analysis to show you the implications of this trend, like what happens as this trend continues. So now, in essence, what we've done with this tool here on Censored.news is we've taken two-dimensional news. This is sort of like flat news. Here it is on the screen. You could just click a headline and you could read a story. Okay, well, now we have three-dimensional news. So you can now see the depth of the news, the analysis of the trends that are aggregated from all of the news in those topics over the last 24 hours. And if you are a business owner, if you are an investor, if you are a retiree who's wanting to know about the risks for your investment money or whatever, or if you're just trying to follow and track what's happening in society, then you're going to want to visit Censored.news every day and just quickly glance at the trends. Now, it's completely free to use. There's no login needed. You don't have to sign up with an email or anything. You just go there and look at it. And it's updated automatically every 30 minutes. It hasn't crashed for a couple of days now, although it still may crash, possibly. I'm still fine-tuning some things with it. But I've greatly reduced RAM and CPU usage and so on, a lot of caching strategies. And so far, it's been really stable. Now, there's another feature there called Ask Brighteon AI. Now, you'll see that when you go to the site. And there, you can ask a question about all the news that we've gathered over the last 24 hours in that topic. So, for example, if you want to ask it a question about, let's say tech news. If I go to tech news, let's see. Wow. Processed fake meat industry collapses as consumers reject ultra-processed big food alternatives. Well, maybe that belongs in the health category, but it's in tech because of the sort of the artificial meat technology. But suppose you want to ask a question about that. Well, you can ask it right there. You could just type in your question. Hey, tell me about what are some of the other fake meat companies? You click submit, and then boom, it gives you the answer. And as part of the context of that question that you don't see, it's actually feeding the stories of the last 24 hours that we've spidered to the AI engine to help you get a much more informed answer with all of that context. So you can, not only can you see the news and get the 3D depth of the analysis, you can actually talk to the news. You can ask questions of the news. You can have a dialogue, in essence, with the news, okay? In a sense. And that's never been available before, ever. So this was part of my goal to help you have tools that are free to use that help decentralize information, that bypass censorship, and that give you knowledge and understanding of how the world works around you so that you can navigate it better. And so I encourage you to use this engine. It's incredibly powerful. You can interact with it, like I said. You can ask questions. You can get analysis. You can do all these kinds of things. And then when you want an AI engine to ask anything, just go to brightu.ai, or you can go to brighteon.ai, and it will forward you. And you should know that we've also added, over the weekend, I've added a preparedness and survival coach. So now, in addition to our wellness coach and our financial coach that Andy Scheckman told me he absolutely loves so much, he's going to start plugging it on his show, we've added a survival coach, which knows everything about survival. Oh, man, it's loaded with information. You can ask it anything about emergency medicine, emergency shelters. It's trained on how to disassemble and clean 3,000 different firearms, by the way. It's trained on so much stuff: food preservation, canning, drying techniques, seed saving, shelter construction, how to survive nuclear fallout, how to survive cyber attacks, how to survive a zombie wave. Anything you can think of, it's got that. It's got that because it's been trained on over 10,000 books and hundreds of millions of pages of content, which is what I've been working on the last 2 years now. So that's also free. So take advantage of it. Enjoy it, because you're never going to get better tools that are more in line with what you and I already know about the world. You're never going to find better tools anywhere. And ChatGPT can't even touch this. ChatGPT doesn't do this. And ChatGPT still thinks that vaccines are all awesome and that there are like 97 genders, So do you want to go to a stupid, retarded model like ChatGPT? Or do you want to get your information from a much more capable, informed model that actually reflects reality? That's what we have at brighteon.ai, or you can interact with it via Censored.news. Finally, I want to ask you the one way that you can sort of return the favor on this or pay it forward. We're not charging for this. It does cost us quite a lot, obviously, for the hosting and the R&D and everything. But just tell people about this tool. Share the news about it. Spread the word. Censored.news. And it doesn't even have any advertising. So, if you're selling something, don't be concerned. There's no ads on here that are going to compete with whatever you sell. It's just information. And although I know people say, well, you should put ads on it. See, I think the ad model is obsolete, frankly. And I don't think that you should plaster every inch of real estate on the screen with a bunch of ads. Again, I think that's obsolete. AI is changing everything to the point where the way people will decide what they want to purchase or what they need to purchase is by understanding the world better and asking for the things that they want or need. Or, for example, maybe they're going to ask our survival coach for maybe a list of things they should buy for preparedness reasons. So the AI might suggest some things. And that's actually where so-called advertising is shifting into. It's no longer going to be what used to be called interruption advertising, where here's this giant ad on the screen and, that may or may not have anything to do with what you are interested in. And I know we still have 5-second pre-roll ads at brighteon.com for the videos, but those are ads that are relevant to what our audience is interested in, which is natural health and decentralization away from the medical system, etc. But in the medium term here, display advertising is obsolete. It's going to be AI information that recommends products or that investigates products or that finds the things that you need or that you want or that can help shore up your situation, whether it's for preparedness or entertainment or utility or health or whatever. So that's just a side note here. I could do a whole podcast on this topic of why advertising as you know it is obsolete or about to become obsolete. But we'll talk about that later in another podcast. But I don't like a bunch of ads on a website. I don't like a bunch of pop-ups. I don't like a bunch of steps to get through a site to get to what you want. And if I didn't have like an ad block browser, I don't think I could even visit the UK Daily Mail website because A couple of times I visited that on a browser that doesn't block ads, and it was just like 50 pop-ups. I couldn't even see the news. It's like, oh my God, what is this? Travel and, clothing, and oh my God, what the hell happened to the Daily Mail? It's just it's just ads galore, right? It's kind of pointless. Nobody's going to visit that in the future. Nobody's going to do that because you're going to get information from places like Censored.news. Think about it. High signal to noise ratio. Not a bunch of stupid ads in your face, but information and understanding of that information, 3D information, and you can even talk to it. You can have a conversation with the news using AI. You can ask questions, and you can gain information even from outside of those stories. So if you see a story about something like, silver prices are going up, you could ask it, well, tell me about, silver mining. What's the average output of a silver mine? Or, can they increase output when prices go up? You could ask that question. If you don't know about silver mining, or you could say, which countries produce the most silver? And it will bring in knowledge from outside. And in our case, using our AI engine, it's trained on interviews and books, but all the interviews that I've ever done, which includes people like Ron Paul and Peter Schiff and Andy Schechtman and Gerald Celente, a lot of money people, like finance people, gold and silver, etc., financial freedom type of people, and many others, even the crypto experts and so on. So if you want all that knowledge brought into your question, this is how you do it. Just go to Censored.news and start using it. And by the way, if it glitches, if it's unavailable or something, don't freak out. It's gonna come back. I'm tweaking features on it. Sometimes they break, whatever. Oh, and I should mention, I'm the only engineer on this project. This was one of the tests that I decided to pursue using AI, so-called vibe coding, only vibe coding, and then a combination of Claude Code Sonnet and then Replit for hosting. It turns out to be a very powerful combination, and the site is running, and it keeps getting better every day. So we're going to keep adding features to it, and we'll improve the voice narration as well. But check it out. I think you'll really enjoy it. You can also scroll down and see all the sites and all their headlines if you want sort of the old version of it. It's there too. But most people are interested in the trends and then the most recent stories in each category, because we've got them. It's respidered every 30 minutes, and then the trends analysis also happens every 30 minutes, and it tells you at what time it was last updated or last crawled, etc. And that's all automatic. Okay, so check it out. Again, Censored.news. And if you want a powerful AI engine, go to Brighteon.ai, which will actually currently forward you to BrightU.ai. So check it out and spread the word. Thanks for your help in all of this. And remember, we couldn't have done this without your support. Shop with us at healthrangerstore.com. And we are using whatever profits we earn from selling clean food and clean supplements, etc., to be able to fund these projects to bring you really valuable information free of charge. And incredible tools that just, if people knew about this, if the whole country knew about this, oh my God, everybody would want to use it, and then our hosting costs would go up. So only tell the right people about this. We don't want everybody using it. We just want smart people using it. Okay, thanks for your support. Take care.
Unlock the power of organic turmeric root powder for good health that starts with every scoop. It's non-GMO, non-China, gluten-free, and certified organic, because you deserve only the purest.
Shop now at healthrangerstore.com.